If you keep your Peloton bike inside, then how will your neighbors, who you never talk to, have any idea that you have more money than they do? That's why I suggest moving your Peloton bike outside. Hey everyone, welcome to Break It Yourself. Today, we're gonna be doing a 1-year review of our Peloton bike. I thought about cleaning this bike before showing you any B-roll or anything, but then I was like, you know what? There's gonna be people in the comments that are like, that bike is so clean. You didn't use it that many times. So, I didn't touch it at all. It's disgusting, but it's held up very well. Now, like my other Peloton video, I am gonna preface this by saying I'm not an Ironman. I don't do triathlons. I don't cycle outside of the home. I enjoy fitness. I'm into fitness. I'm probably average when it comes to exercise, and I own a Peloton bike. So you're just gonna get a regular Joe kind of explaining what happened in our first year with our Peloton bike. Now, just generally to recap the year, I have about 120 rides in the last year. My wife has just about 100 rides as well. I took some time off, about 2 months, for an injury that I had, totally unrelated to the bike. I was averaging using the bike about 3 times a week. My wife was averaging 2 to 3 times a week. She also had a baby in that time frame, so she had some time off as well. So we've got some pretty decent use out of the bike in the last year. When we purchased our bike a year ago, there was only one bike, the Peloton Bike. There is now the Peloton Bike Plus, and I will be comparing them at the end of the video. But we're gonna start off with the pros and cons of our Peloton bike. Now, this is a totally unbiased video. I'm not getting any money from Peloton. We bought this bike ourselves, and we pay monthly for the service as well. And I will say we've been very happy with the Peloton bike. It's held up very well over the year. It's still super smooth, so it is a very good, albeit overpriced, piece of equipment. All right, let's talk through the pros of this bike. I will say the hardware has held up exceptionally well over the last year with 200 plus rides on it. The thing is still rock solid, silent. I have not had any issues with the hardware whatsoever. So we're very impressed with the build quality of the bike. Also, we love the classes. There are tons of instructors to choose from. You can find the exact style of instructor that you're looking for, and you will be able to do that. And you'll find someone that you like, and then you'll go back to those classes. So both me and my wife have instructors that we go to for our classes, and we love those. We found very quickly that we actually don't do the live classes. So almost all of the classes that we do are the on-demand ones. So that is a huge pro. It's not just live classes. Once the class ends, it goes into their library, and they have an extensive library of classes to choose from. Additionally, they don't just have cycling classes. They have all kinds of stuff from abs and yoga, things with weight. They also have the treadmill, the tread. You can also do running outside as well using their app. So we think all of that stuff is great. My wife more so utilizes the stuff outside of the bike. I mainly stick to the bike. But again, we think it's a huge pro. Love the catalog that they have. I said this in my last review, but I will say it again. The classes themselves are super motivating. So I enjoy getting on the bike, so does my wife. And even if you're not feeling like it, the instructors, they do a great job of motivating you. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, this bike is not magic. It's not gonna motivate you to exercise. That's gonna come from you solely. I fully believe that. So if you're someone and you think, oh, I'm gonna get this bike and it's gonna change my life and I'm gonna want to work out now, that's just not the case. Once you get on the bike, it is very motivating, but it's not necessarily gonna motivate you to get on the bike. Now, some specific pros from my wife riding this bike through pregnancy. She was able to exercise up until, I believe, 2 days before giving birth to our daughter, and then took about 6 weeks off and then hopped right back on the bike. So she was able to find classes and rides that really fit the type of output that she was able to do. I got some hate on the last video in general, just around why have an exercise bike? Just buy a bike and go outside and ride around. Absolutely, some people can do that. This for us was just out of convenience, and I will say that's a huge pro on super hot days, on super cold days. Another pro, easy setup and cleanup. We work out in our carport, so anytime I'm doing like a CrossFit style workout, you have to bring all the weight out there, set some racks up. Not a huge deal, but it's a lot easier for me to just hop on the bike for 20-30 minutes and then hop right off and you're done. My wife also really loves to be able to use it for 20 or 30 minutes while our daughter is taking a nap. So that's been an awesome thing. Any time of the day, you can hop on, go to the catalog, find a class, and exercise. Another pro that I use much more than my wife is that they now actually show the metric ranges. What you can actually do is mute the instructor and let's say like listen to a podcast or something or watch a TV show. That's what I do. And I can just look down at the screen and say, okay, this is the cadence that they want you in, the range, and then this is, the resistance range that they want you in. And I do that a lot. Sometimes, I want the motivation of the instructor, and then sometimes, I want to listen to a podcast or something like that. And I can just look down at the screen and then just see where I need my resistance and my cadence. So that's very nice. That's a huge pro to me. I use that a lot. Another pro is being able to exercise with a friend. So you can add friends in the app. I am just under Break It Yourself, and then you can take a class with them. And I found that to be highly motivating. I got my highest ever PR in a 30-minute class chasing somebody. So that's definitely a pro, to be able to exercise with other people and not necessarily have to be together. So those are really our pros, and I will say I highly recommend the bike. It is a great product and we love the catalog and able to exercise and the convenience that comes with that. Now, let's talk about some of the cons, because there absolutely are some cons. The first one being the price. It is very expensive. The regular bike, so the Peloton Bike, has come down in price. I believe it's around $1,800 right now. And then additionally, you've got the $40 a month that you're gonna have to pay to use that bike and use the app. They do have a $10 version, but to get the full effect of the bike, you're gonna have to pay $40 a month, which is pretty pricey. I was coming from a gym that was much more expensive than that per month. So for me and my wife to get the use out of the bike for $40 a month doesn't seem that bad. I just hate that I'm tied to that cost kind of forever in order to use that bike. Another con, which ended up coming true for us, is I was worried about spending the $2,200 last year and then not knowing when are they gonna release a new bike and I'm gonna miss out on it. And sure enough, I bought the bike and then the Bike Plus comes out shortly after that. So there is that worry. You're spending a lot of money up front and then eventually you will likely become unsupported by Peloton as your individual bike ages. So I do worry about that still. I'm only one version behind, but that still is kind of a con to me, that as they're getting better, I'm gonna be left behind. Now this next con really comes from a place of ignorance on my part, and that is the metrics that I'm seeing on the bike. I don't have any reason to believe that they are not accurate, but I also don't know if they are accurate. So Peloton claims when you get the bike, it's calibrated, it's good. I have no idea how long that's gonna last for. And again, I'm not training for an Ironman or triathlon, so I'm not training off of power output. I'm really just looking at the resistance, looking at my cadence and saying, what can I do in this specific class? And if I can do more, then I up my cadence and up my resistance. I'm not really training off of power, but I would caution you that if you do want to train off of power, I have read that the Peloton Bike is not very accurate in its metrics. So I'm gonna list this as a con because I really just don't know. And you can contact Peloton and try to get your bike recalibrated. They definitely don't want you recalibrating it. So that is kind of a con. I don't know if you can necessarily trust the metrics all that much. Again, not super important for me, probably not gonna be super important for most people because I'm just going off of how do I feel for this class? And if I'm feeling good, I'll go harder. And that's kind of how I train. Another con, if you're doing this alone, the bike is pretty heavy. It does have wheels, so you can move it around. Not the easiest thing to move around, and it takes up about a 4 foot by 2 foot space. So I know it comes with the territory of owning equipment, but I just wanted to get it out there. That kind of a con. It's pretty heavy, not the easiest thing to move around, and it takes up a good bit of space. Another con is that the Peloton Bike speakers are just garbage. Well, we paid $2,200. Right now it's $1,895. For that amount of money, you would think that you'd actually get some decent speakers on that bike, and they're just not good. They're really like tin can sounding.
What's up, Peloton? How are you? I am Ali Love. Welcome. This is a 30-minute hip hop ride.
I've started using headphones with mine as well. But just wanted to let you know that that is a pretty significant con for the price that you are paying. Okay, here's my last con, and some of you may laugh that this isn't really a con, but I actually find myself doing just the Peloton bike instead of my other exercise. We got this bike as a supplement to the exercise that we were doing. I was doing high intensity interval training and wanting to just use the bike like 2 times a week. Now I did average 2 times a week, but now I'm finding myself more and more, maybe it's the cold weather, I'm not sure, but I'll be like, I could go outside and do some stuff with a barbell, or I could just hop on the Peloton. And I'm finding myself, Pelotoning 3, 4, 5 times a week, which is a con for me because that's not what my personal goals are about, which might be kind of a ridiculous con, but it's so convenient that I'm finding myself just kind of naturally being lazy and going to the bike more and more, which is not what I necessarily want to be doing with my fitness. Okay, now let's talk about the similarities and differences between the Peloton Bike and the Peloton Bike Plus. I'm probably gonna have to cheat and look at my notes here, but the main differences between the Peloton Bike and the Peloton Bike Plus are that the Plus, the new bike, has a 24-inch screen. The old bike has a 22-inch screen. The Plus, the new bike, has better speakers. So they're claiming, I have not tested them, but one of my criticisms in my last video is that the speakers are pretty much garbage in the Peloton bike. One of the things that I think is probably the best feature of the new bike is that it has this auto follow for the resistance. I know that could be like really super lazy and ridiculous, but hear me out here because it seems pretty cool, is that you'll set, let's say the resistance is between like 20 and 30, and so you pick 25. Now every time the instructor says, okay, now we're gonna go up to 40 to 50, it would automatically go up to 45 on your resistance for you. Now I think that's pretty cool, but what I've actually read is that because it has that auto feature, the metrics are way more accurate on the Bike Plus versus the regular bike. So I said in one of my cons, I was a little worried about the metrics. Not that it's the biggest deal, but I have read that the metrics are much more accurate with that auto follow feature. There's 2 other things, and the screen on the Bike Plus swivels around. So if you're doing like ab work or yoga or something like that, instead of needing, your phone or putting it on a TV or something, you can just swivel the screen wherever you have the bike set up, and then you could just look at it that way. So that is pretty convenient. And then the last thing is that it has Apple's Gym Kit integration as well. As of the end of February 2021, the cost for the Peloton Bike is $1,895, and the cost for the Peloton Bike Plus starts at $2,495. There is a $600 price difference between the two, so you have to kind of weigh, do you think those features are worth the extra $600? We have been extremely happy with the Peloton Bike. Yes, it's expensive. I know it gets a bad rap, and I'm making fun of it in the intro that it's got a stereotype that goes with it, but we have utilized it a lot over the last year and have been very happy with it. Also, the heart rate monitor from Peloton is trash. Go ahead and get the one from Polar. I will give you a link to where you can get this on Amazon. This one's awesome. I hope you found this 1-year look back on our Peloton bike to be helpful in your search for what you want to use to exercise, or if you're comparing the Peloton bike versus the Peloton Plus. We are thinking of upgrading, and then I would do another review, so let me know if you think I should. We're not 100% sold yet on if we're gonna do that or not. We would sell this bike and then just, upgrade to the other one, but we'll see. A couple other notes about the bike, not necessarily pros or cons, but they do actually come set the bike up for you, so that is kind of nice with the cost of it. Of course, they should absolutely do that. And then I had some other people ask in the initial review about like what size human being can the bike actually fit, and according to Peloton, it can fit anyone who's 4'11" to 6'4", and the maximum weight is 297 pounds. I will say, me and my wife are probably like 6 inches different in height. Really easy to adjust, really no issue at all. I'm 5'10", she's 5'4"-ish, something like that. And yeah, fits us both perfectly. If you've got any questions about the bike itself, please let me know in the comments below. Also, I did the first video a year ago and then a follow-up video now. I have updated kind of like in between on Instagram. I'm not so great about making continual videos, but I do put more information on Instagram. So if you want to go over and check me out there, also ask questions. I've gotten a lot of DMs about the Peloton and I've been able to respond over there. So check out Instagram. Also, I will put a referral code to give you $100 off if you decide to purchase a Peloton. And then I think it only works for like the first 12 people, something like that. And then check the comments, because I'm sure other people will put their referral code. I think you'll get $100 off, and then I get $100 to buy like apparel or something like that. So check the description below. Thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. As always, don't forget to thumbs me up. But the most important thing you can do is, if you know someone who's interested in the Peloton or wants to compare the two or anything like that, share this video with them. The YouTube algorithm loves that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.